Hello, and thank you for joining us on our Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host, Barrett McDonald. I'm happily joined today by Chris Gourley, CEO and founder of Summit Vehicle Storage and Parking. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today. Would you like to kick things off a little bit about who you are and what got you on your entrepreneurial train?
Barrett, I love it. I really do. I appreciate being here. And we spoke a little bit before we went live here, and we're so aligned in how we think and how we view the possibilities of the future. I got to say right away, I'm the fourth generation business owner in our family. We came over in 1878, immigrants from Ireland and from Scotland, so both parents, mother and father. Settled here and got started in the agriculture.
Okay.
Right into farming, second generation into farming, third generation into farming, each generation expanding on what the previous generation had built. And now, here I am standing on the shoulders of what they've created. So we're still in the agriculture business, but we've branched out into other businesses. My mother and my brother operate the Fox Hollow Golf Course in Stuyac. Built that in 1995, so it's coming on 30 years already. And then I ventured off and used some of our assets from the farm and got into the vehicle storage.
Yeah.
It started with 10 units. Next year it quickly went to 20. We didn't do this on purpose. Then it went to 50. Then it turned to 100, and then it kept going. And currently we have about 500 vehicles in storage. It sounds very unique business, and it is. I mean, we again fell upon it. Didn't mean to get into it like this, but what we discovered there's nothing in the industry that was professionalized. A lot of empty spaces maybe where you can store your camper or your boat or your car, but no one did it 24 hours, 7 days a week, professionalized. Valet
Right.
service to the airport, valet service to the garage, oil change, detailing services, trickle charge, open any time so you can come and go at your leisure. And so that really obviously resounded with people's needs. And in a matter of years, we have 500. And then what happened, of course, is we at the airport 5, 6, 7 times a day, picking passengers up or dropping them off, delivering their car or picking up their car. We start looking at the airport parking business and quickly realized that that's really what we were looking for return on invested capital. In 2015, Park and Fly, which was a Canadian owned company,
Right.
Ontario family that built it to 5 locations across the country. They sold it to a Chinese hedge fund for a value of $397 million. And an estimated EBITDA factor of 14. When we saw that, we thought, well, let's do our profit and loss projections. So in 2015, we initiated our projections for what we think we could accomplish.
Right.
And we've been working towards that ever since. So I'm happy to say, about 21 months ago, we opened the doors to Summit Airport Parking. We bought the land, we developed the land. We I mean, just started from scratch, Barrett. I mean, had no processes, had no systems, had no operating systems. We had to learn, the POS and the gate systems and the
Right.
processes and get approvals from the airport to operate there as well as a partner, which is difficult, or not difficult, but time consuming.
Right.
But 21 months later, here we are.
There you go. That's a fantastic story. So the current structure of your business, is it just yourself or do you have other shareholders and stakeholders?
It's a great question, and I'm going to say two things about that because I'm a firm believer in the family business. So I belong to the Family Business Association, a wonderful organization in Atlantic, Canada, and there's a national fraction of that as well called Cafe. And so I separated from the core family business and went on my own. So I'm 100% owner, 100% equity. In the essence, it's still a family business because I was able to leverage what the generations before me left us.
Right.
And it was our vehicle too, Barrett. We were able to take assets that some would view as not valuable. We're able to you know you leverage those, add value to those that allowed us to
Absolutely.
get the capital to start in order to get the ball rolling on our other initiatives. And so without that history behind us, it would have been a much more difficult thing to achieve. And the second thing
Absolutely.
I want to say about that is like 100% equity owner. We have a we're trying to build a platform here of airport parking. So the growth is going to be, I think, exponential in the coming years. And we're not going to dilute capital by raise capital by diluting equity. We're going to, encourage and engage our work, especially our C-suite, with like, a return on value. As the value of
Right.
the company grows and they're part of that, we're able to have a vesting period and they share in the growth of the company's value. And I believe that's how we're going to really be able to attract A players to be along with us in this journey is in our creation of value.
Absolutely. So what do you kind of view your role as within the company?
I do appreciate that. Currently CEO, 5 to 10 years, hopefully in that frame, chairman of the board,
Right.
honestly, chairman of the board, and I love that corporate governance structure, and filling those seats when you define it and see it ahead of time, especially when we want to share in value, we want to make sure we, appropriate that percentage correctly so we don't over commit at the beginning. And it really, as you know, so fulfilling to vision it and then see it take shape, and
Absolutely.
those two things are intrinsically linked together.
Yeah, and it all slides together relatively quickly when you have the right direction headed. So how big is the team over there?
So between the vehicle storage and airport parking, we're a team of 20.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
And
it really,
good solid structure. Everyone knows what their reporting mechanism and all of those fun things are.
I love it. As you know, it's a living document. I'm happy to say, it's so funny because if you look at us, it's a thing. Let's say an airport. Let's separate it. Our focus is airport. There's a couple levers we can pull in vehicle storage, but we're going to focus on airport parking, scale this. Um, as a single operator, you wouldn't have the structure that we have. Meaning, we have a fractional COO, we have a fractional CFO, we have a head of growth and partnership. We have an advisory board. These are things that you wouldn't invest in without knowing that you're going to be a platform and grow. So to me, it's a great investment, like for a return on invested capital, to have these people in place and then work towards a goal.
Absolutely. So it's probably making it relatively easy to recruit and retain those high functioning individuals because you have such a growth trajectory ahead of you.
Barry, I think you're right. I think, pay is one thing. Unfortunately, we can only pay so much at this scale. But the people we attract, they love the vision. They love the energy. They love what we're doing. I'm happy to say we've been in business 13 years from the storage to the airport. We have a compounding annual growth rate, average 42.9% over 13 years. Extraordinary. Our projections for the next 2 years are in that same ballpark. So our company, doubles every less than 3 years at that rate, triples
Absolutely.
6 years. So to get back to your point, I think that's what attracts these people is like the trajectory, what we're doing.
That's fantastic. So what do you find really differentiates your structure at the airport to who your competitors would be, not necessarily locally, but as you look forward to the other markets you're going to move to?
I think it's an excellent question because the second point that you made about other locations. Here is, we're able to bring ideas from other places that are new to here. So for us to be able to offer detailing and oil changes while you're parked is very new here. It's a new concept to people.
Right.
They can't believe it, and I'm happy to introduce it to them. Other locations, it's been done for a while. Here again, we're a little different than most parts of the world. We also offer a snow clearing service, so we can have your vehicle free of snow anytime for your return. So that's a very unique proposition here, and it really, people even just love knowing that the option is there, even if they don't buy it or purchase it. I think they choose to park with us because these services are even available, and it's
Right.
it's a, the personalized feeling that they get versus our local competitors here.
Absolutely. So what's kind of one thing you wish people understood made your industry more difficult than it seems on the surface?
I think, and I don't like to do this much, but like I let people to know that we're local. We have 20 people directly in our community employed. I mean, 4 generations of family business history connected to this point. I would love for that to be known more. And it's a hard message to get across because, you want to be on the high road and you don't want to, step on your competitors at all and say that they're not local. And so, how I circumvent that is just get involved in the communities,
Right.
make sure they know our story. I mean, Barrett, you're helping facilitate that right now with your podcast and we have a 60-foot pylon sign on the side of the highway. It's massive, so it's that connection. Once people hear this and then they drive by the sign, the link's made, and
Right.
they know there's a local touch to it.
Yeah, and then when you think about expanding to other markets, you're going to have boots on the ground in those markets, which then is inspiring um, the local economy with providing those jobs and career paths for people.
It's an excellent point. One I'd like to expand on briefly is like, you're right. So we're 21 months in, we're cash positive after 9 weeks, profitable after 9 months, really hitting our stride now. But that's all based on our community because we're all from here. We have, again, 4 generations of history behind us. We're well connected. So people used us right away because they knew the family. They knew us. They knew our employees, our team members. We won't have that advantage in another market when we go to it. Let's say it's in
Right.
Texas, or let's say it's in Ottawa, or let's say it's wherever in North America. It's going to be a different game because we won't have that deep rooted connection. So, in that sense, we need to go there in advance. If we know we're going to go to Texas, we need to go and join the board, the Chamber of Commerce. We need to join the family business associations there. We need to get involved in the community ahead of time, and I really look forward to doing this.
Absolutely. So, how important is kind of being involved in your community for you, and how do you find that grows your business and impacts that?
You said to me not that long ago, and it resonated. It's like, I think it was one of the founding members of Sobeys. He said, you invest 10 cents and you get back a dollar when you get back to your community. And he
Right.
didn't know how. He doesn't know how that works. He doesn't know why. But it's just a fact. I mean, 10 cents into your community produces a dollar. I mean, I'm not talking profit or revenue. I mean, effect, you
Right.
know, there it is. What kind of effect can we have? Now, Barrett, I want to be very clear here. This is one of our core ideologies. As we expand across North America in the different locations, we strive to do, 5 or more. It all comes back here. I'm from Stewiacke. I'm from Colchester County. I'm from Nova Scotia. All that comes back here to our direct community, and what can we do with that? And we have goals of what we're going to do with that. And they're clear, and it helps us with all of our decision making. So we feel we can have a really real effect on Stewiacke, Colchester, and Nova Scotia.
Yeah, and I think you and I have talked quite a bit about how Nova Scotia is slowly and fastly at the same time becoming that cornerstone of all of Atlantic Canada. So our impact that we have locally is going to be felt throughout the region. And as we become leaders in that, it's fantastic. So how do you see that benefiting your business and what your business trajectory is over the next couple of years?
And again, just another great question because in essence, I did nothing to deserve this in one way because the airport was there. The Truro Center, the Halifax area, they're all were my neighbors. So I didn't do anything to deserve proximity to this market that is so, like I said, so robust in growing. It's fortunate that Stewiacke's positioned where it is. So we're if that's the case, then the next goal is to utilize that, take advantage of that, maximize that. So yeah, I think for rough numbers, the airport projections are showing right now they do 4 million passengers per year. One of the best case scenarios by 2045 is 8 million passengers a year. The
Right.
low end of their projections are 6 million passengers. Either way, it's 50% growth or 100% growth. Extraordinary, you
Yeah,
know? And so just with that data alone, it's investable. It
absolutely.
the risk reduces, in our projections. So these are things that again we did nothing to make happen, but our job is to maximize on it.
Absolutely. And I mean, we both know and feel it where people are flying in from around the world to Halifax, but then they're touring throughout the rest of Atlantic Canada and even down into the eastern seaboard of the US and into Quebec and everything. So you're really becoming a cornerstone of inspiring and creating that opportunity for people. So going through the generations of the family business, do you see that being the direction of succession planning for your business?
Oh, I love it. I love it because my two girls are 21 and 20. One graduating engineering this year, the next one graduating business and marketing the following year, both at University of New Brunswick. Very happy, Barrett. I'm not a gambling man at all, but I'm very confident that both will be part of the family business going forward, one sooner than the other. Just like water on stone, they were always raised, with an entrepreneurial mindset, with and being surrounded by it. So I feel that they see the positives of being in business. I mean, you hear a lot of negative things about being a business owner and the stress and the work and the concerns. And I tried to promote just the opposite of that. And I think it resonated. So my goal then right now is, and this is what I feel, is to make the company big enough that they can come in and create their own thing.
Right.
Not take over what I've done. Because I think there's so much strength and so much gratitude looking back with something you created. So I hope that they can come into the business and see a synergy within our business structure and then develop their own branch of it, and have that ownership of that, and have that risk associated with it as well. So my job is to make sure we're big enough, there's enough room that they can have, the opportunity to do this.
Absolutely. So when you think about marketing, you touched that one of your daughters is taking marketing and everything. You talked about the pylon sign earlier. What is your methods of marketing, and what do you find is the best way to kind of test and measure marketing, in your opinion?
Again, such a great thing because we are going to expand. These metrics need to be, well known and established. KPIs, like the cost to acquire a customer, our adoption rate, conversion rates. These measurable metrics. So honestly, Barrett, I swear to gosh, it's just being involved.
Right.
That's where I see the greatest effect. I mean it. Now, when you put a 60-foot sign next to the 102 highway with 70,000 people drive by a day, and then you go to a function or a convention or a get together and you say summit, they get it. There's a connection,
Absolutely.
right? So I find the sign was a great investment, but it's that next step that really gives the value back is when you say the face to the name, So honestly, Barrett, I swear to gosh, it's that human connection. I know it's so funny to say, but it's what I do too. It's what I do. I travel around, visit all the travel agents, and make sure they know who we are, and go to the right all events, and just let them know who we are.
Absolutely. It's very grassroots, but the grassroots is what's working. I mean, no one likes the handshake is coming back around again, which is fantastic, right?
I fully agree.
Yeah,
And some people don't like doing this, of course. I mean, and some people do. So it's the right person in the right seat, and that's exactly my goal is too, is the use of capital and the use, and building the team and putting the right people in the right places.
absolutely. So, what's kind of a memorable hurdle that you've overcome that you don't mind sharing?
That's really, there's so many, isn't there? There's so many, isn't there? Listen, Barrett, this was unproven. We set up land 4 minutes, 4 minutes 30 seconds away from the airport, on a dead end dirt road, no lights. Bear, when we opened, we had no power. We ran off
Right.
of jet. We had no internet. I said to the contractors, listen, November 1st, we're opening if I'm sitting there on a milk crate in a pylon. That's how, and glad to say we did. But it was a huge risk because our model was unproven, and our location was, wasn't wonderful. And we overcame that. We just, and we knew nothing. We had no processes, no systems, no anything, but we just had, I guess, grit and an idea. And
Absolutely.
word to God, Barrett, we opened in November, and by February, after 2.5 years of toil, getting all the permits and developing building, I was going, I might be wrong. It wasn't very
Yeah,
busy. Look out there and had 30 cars in the parking lot, and I was like, oh, okay. Now it came. Yeah. Now we have, almost 400. But like, those are hurdles. You know,
absolutely.
Yeah, those are when you either choose to run towards it or run away from it. So there's so much gratitude to look back and say, I ran towards those problems. And I think that's what people need to keep in mind. One more thing, the reason we're called Summit, I do mountaineering. So I have a goal to climb all seven, the highest mountain in every continent. So I've done 5 out of 7. And so while you're doing it, it's very difficult. But it's a hindsight when you look back and the achievement or the gratitude for trying something difficult. I think it's a delayed gratification, but it's the best kind.
So would you say it's a lack of a fear of failure that propels you forward?
Ooh, that could be either a asset or a liability.
Right.
Luckily, I'm not 21 anymore. I've been in business ever since then. Yeah, when you're younger, I think you do. You're not going to fail. There's no way, right? I think as older you get, the more measured risk you take, and then the older you get, maybe the less risk you take as well. There's stages. So I'm very mindful of that. I think the older I'll get, the less risk I'm going to take. So I'm very mindful now to take those risks. It's
Right.
they're calculated. I call them two-door decisions, not a one-door decision. You can get out of it. Whereas there's not many one-door decisions you can make in your life. So yeah, I'm happy to say, what we're doing next is it's going to be risky as well. Now it'll be a two-door risk. It won't sink the ship if it doesn't work. But yeah, we're going to take some risks in the next 5 to 7 years.
Which will be a lot of fun, right? Because you're building and you're learning all along, and you just look behind you and you're like, oh, I've got a bit of a toolkit I can pull from, and some other experienced people around me that I can kind of do. So surrounding yourself with the right team makes those risks a little less riskier.
Hey, you're so right, especially when they're invested in the growth of the company and share with the value creation. That's the idea. Is like there's no way in my mind to scale the way we want to without that investment from those people because I just can't do it all, nor do I want to.
No,
So yeah, you're right. We dilute the risk.
absolutely. So you talked a little bit a couple of times about the entrepreneurial mindset. What does that kind of mean for you?
I know it's such a budget. I don't know, man. I didn't mean to do this, but I've done it since I was 21. I just sat on a panel last week discussing this. I'm so happy to be an entrepreneur. I'm so happy to be doing what I'm doing, but I didn't choose it, man. It just, I heard someone say I'd be a terrible employee, but it's just what I'm meant to do. Sometimes you even question why you're doing what you're doing, and that being said, I'm very orientated in my calendar to reflect on my integrity and my values and my goals. On a monthly, quarterly and an annual. Annuals like integrity to make sure you look back and following the line that you want to follow. But down to the core is just I'm doing exactly what I'm meant to do. And if I'm storing cars or parking cars or selling burritos, it does I don't I, it doesn't matter to me. It's the
Right.
challenge. It's a challenge of the business itself.
Yeah. How do you fit one more car? How do you sell one more burrito? It's all the same drive.
Right. Right.
It's just a little bit different. Um, So we'll kind of wrap up with some rapid fire questions here. You talked a lot about goal setting. So other than properly following goal setting, what's one piece of advice you'd have for a budding entrepreneur?
Hey, I do believe that is the North Star, man. Like, I the term like the big hairy and ambitious goal, like the bag, there's something that's hardly attainable, just out of reach. I think that is so important to have because it makes all your decisions easier, because
Right.
there at least there's a direction, and you can easily say yes, that follows my vision, or no, it doesn't. It helps to extinguish anxiety because to me, anxiety is when you hum and haw and you can't really, but with a North Star, a big, hairy, and ambitious goal, all that becomes a little easier. So I swear to gosh, goal setting's one thing, but I think you need to set something so ambitious, Barrett, that it's hardly even attainable.
Yeah, we have a bit of a saying at Action Coach that if you tell your friends what your goals are and it doesn't scare them, you have the right friends. If it scares them, you have the wrong friends, is what it comes down to. So what's the key to success for you?
That's very important because is it money? Is it size? Is it reputation? Is it these sort? No, none of those things. So I guess it's funny to reflect on that. I think it's when you look back and it pumps you up. If
Right.
if if you look back and reflect and it doesn't fire you up, then to me, I'm unsuccessful.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a good one. What's a book that you're reading or a podcast or an audiobook you're listening to right now that you recommend for everyone?
I give, there's core books that I give to our managers, like How to Win Friends and Influence People. I don't really like the title. I just love what the book represents. So it's how to talk to people, how to validate people. It's such a secret sauce. I'm happy to say I'm reading a book that one of my high school friends in junior high and even elementary school friends, right from the beginning, he wrote a book. So I'm reading his book right now, and I'm
Nice.
very excited about it. Yeah. But yeah,
So what's the book?
it's I have to think of the name there. 1 second. I'm just trying to say Excalibur, but it isn't. It's Quantum. That's right, Quantum
Quantum?
by Fetty
Okay.
Haney. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds
I
good.
read all business books, and 99% of my books are business books, or autobiographies about business leaders. Not only business leaders, Benjamin Franklin, Roosevelt, leaders in general. And I just hope by pure osmosis I can learn, but from these people. Yeah. So one I refer back to often too is "Buy Back Your Time" by Dan Martell, who's a guy from New
Hmm.
Brunswick, lives in Kelowna now, and really that's a great book to scalability, managing yourself, and how to buy back your time. And there's just little things you can do that really ease your schedule.
It's all about little momentum building steps. It's not giant swings that end up winning everything for people. So if you had a magic wand and I could give you one right now, what's one area of your business you'd change?
Bear, I do appreciate that. I've been doing this a long time. I would like to be, even further along than we are,
Okay.
because I'm pretty ambitious, so, you know, I'm happy, not satisfied,
Right.
so, I, and I don't want to wish time away, but I would like to see where we're at in three years, or
Absolutely.
five
That
years.
3-5 location mark.
Yeah, just like, yeah. So I might little sneak peek into the future. Be
Would be awesome. And what's kind of most inspiring you today?
It's really interesting. I think, I do get around a lot to a lot of events and things, and there's a positivity in the air
Right.
for our region and for our country. There's a lot of negativity out there. Now, I choose not to surround myself by that. And by talking to people, I think there's a genuine sense of positivity. And to me, that's very, very exciting. And it's great to be surrounded with people that believe the same thing.
Absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, negativity sells, and that's what we hear the most of. It's behind those closed doors and in those meetings where you really hear the positive growth that is headed for this area. So it makes it all kinds of fun.
It does, and I think we're the same age in the same category. I think it's so fortunate to not to be too young, not to be on the other side. We're right here, man. Like what an opportunity. We could be in a different situation than we are right now. Like the country has been in different situations, and Nova Scotia has certainly been in different situations over time. But I think what a perfect opportunity right now.
Absolutely. And what a perfect place to live where we're never more than 40 minutes from the ocean, right?
Honestly,
It's fantastic. So, Chris, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure hearing about more about your business, and it'll be fantastic to see where it heads over the coming years. So,
Bear,
to anyone watching at home, I look forward to seeing you in our next episode.
I'm so thankful. I appreciate your time, really, and I hope that your guests, get a little bit from this, and they can reach out to me anytime on LinkedIn. And that's a great place to connect if they have any questions.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.